Thank you all for being able to have me. It's something where I'm excited to be able to do more and more initiatives all across the UK. A quick show of hands before, who has heard of Superteam UK before? Just so I can get a hand. Okay, cool. All right, we've done some good work being able to bring everyone together. And I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about how you can further your career into the industry. So just quick show of hand, who's already working full-time or at least part-time in Web3? Good amount. And then who wants to be working into the industry? Cool, so we've got a couple more. Cool. So what I'm going to be talking to you a bit about here today is a little bit about how you can progress your career into the industry. And if you are new, it also gives you a little bit of insights in how you can kind of get an edge into the ecosystem. I'm stealing from a little bit of what Akshay, who was the founder of Superteam, talked to us about last year when we had a Solana Foundation offsite, and he was saying to us as the leads, how do we progress our career? Because it's not a traditional path. There's not big corporates where there's thousands of people in a company and there's banded structures that you're going up. It's a very unique kind of way to be able to grow into our ecosystem. So I hope that I'm going to be able to share some of those insights with you today, and that can kind of help you as you're then going forth here today, moving forward in your career. If you've already heard of us, but I can give you a couple cool stats that I kind of share about what we've been able to do. Superteam's been going since 2021. And globally, we've been able to help a bunch of different startups being able to raise funding. So right now, that's being able to grow to over 100. There you go. So that's been able to grow to almost 60 million. We've been able to help funds being raised by startups across the world. We've grown this community GDP. So that's 11 million that's been earned by our members across the world. So that's either through contracts, jobs, hackathon wins, bounties that they've won, all different ways of being able to earn into the ecosystem. And then we've been able to see almost 200 jobs being created by people we've been able to work with. And so some of the lessons that we've been able to take today has then helped these people be able to break into the industry and further their career. So I'm Stephen Newnham is my government name, but most people know me as Cap. I've been leading Superteam UK since June 2023. Then over that period, we've been able to host over 300 events, being able to welcome almost 10,000 people towards them in 11 different cities all across the UK, which is really awesome. And we've been able to help in the UK people earn almost $1 million. That's our community GDP so far. Before this, I worked for a marketing agency that got acquired by Stephen Bartlett. I led the different go-to-market campaigns for them, and we've been able to bring together all different events across different regions. I think I'm having to slam this to get it to go through. But then, yeah, no. Aha, okay, I found it. I figured it out. I need a point. So let's talk about how to get in these different roles and then these different jobs and all the different secrets that you can learn. It starts off with being able to think about how you're able to do 3 different things. One is your social visibility. You know, we live in a world where everything's on social media, so how you're able to grow within that space and how you're able to be able to add that brings a lot to organizations. When you come to join the team, you are more than just what you've been able to accomplish in your experiences, you're also that personal brand that you've created. You also need to be thinking about your zone of responsibility. So one thing they told us as the leads was that we need to be able to grow not just within our different region, but how are we being able to support other regions across. So what's quite cool is that our Dublin branch is now launching out of Superteam Ireland. So I'm now going to be regional lead for Superteam Ireland. So that's my zone of responsibility growing. And then you can also think about your capital yourself, how you're able to grow there. And I've got a cool little thing I'll talk to you about how there's a new way we're thinking about you growing your own personal holding company and what that starts to look like as you progress further. So when you think about that social visibility, it's all about being able to make sure that you're furthering your personal brand. And I think this is something that everyone should really take away and think about. What is your voice? How are you being able to represent and what do you want to stand for? What are your personal values? You may work for a company that has a set of values, but what are your personal values that you stand by and that you're then sharing with the world? And then when you're now looking at being able to grow that and being able to grow on socials, one of the key things that I think you should be thinking about is niching down. So first pick an ecosystem, pick something you're interested in. So for example, myself is I'm interested in the Solana ecosystem. Then once you have that, pick a niche in that. Say it's I like DeFi on Solana. Now, why are we doing this? Is because you can't speak to everybody, but you can speak to a select group. So by being able to start with that, you're able to start now bringing out a local reputation across that world. And then you want to create thoughtful content. Now you have to find, again, this is all about your voice. Do you like writing? Do you like videos? Are you more audio? Figure out your style of being able to talk to the world about your values, and then be consistent in creating that type of content and being able to push that out across not just X, but I think there's also very much value of being able to create stuff on LinkedIn. There's a lot more organic reach that you can be able to get there. And as the industry grows and gets more professional, you will find more and more opportunities to grow there. And then being able to then activate and across different ecosystems where you're not just creating your own content, but you're also replying to other people. This is like when you have no followers, where do you want to be able to begin? You want to be able to start replying and engaging with those other thought leaders. And what you do is you focus on that niche. So then you start becoming known in that small area by those other thought leaders. And that starts allowing you to progress. And as you start growing more awareness, then you're able to span out to more ecosystems and more spaces. So think about that as your journey. And the last little thing there on growing that social visibility is that notice the little trends, especially in crypto Twitter. There is like trends that will come on the timeline. Right now, you have the meme of being able to create a AI generative picture of the anime. And then that's what's all hot right now. And you would get a lot of engagement by posting a post along those lines and then being able to tap into your specific niche and what they would enjoy from that. So those give you that little bit of stepping stones as you're starting able to grow, and follow this like little strategy and you'll start to be able to get to those first 1,000 followers, then to those first next 1,000. And then now when you're hiring by a company, they're hiring not just your experience, but you as your personal brand, which can add a lot of value. And especially if you want to be able to get a role in a specific niche, this shows your market knowledge. We had one of our community members, Josh, do exactly this. He wanted to get a job in Solana Deepin. He started a little blog, started writing and doing deep dives into the Solana Deepin projects, and he's now just got a BD role for Dawn, which is a really cool Deepin project in the ecosystem. And so showing what you're doing here builds that proof of work, which is ultimately what these companies are looking for. So being that domain expert is putting the proof in the pudding. And then when we talk about zonal responsibility and why this is important, is that proof of work is what gets you the roles. There's less in Web3 of hiring under CVs and being like, oh, you've worked 5 years here, 10 years there, because the companies haven't been around that long. And so you've got to be able to show that proof of work, which is within these 2 years, what have you accomplished? And we can do things very fast in our industry. And that's why it's really important to have those milestones. And it's also very important for your confidence, being able to say that I am an expert in this field because I have a stack of undeniable proof, which shows you that I've been able to accomplish these initiatives. And then when you're in the interview and you're having your conversations, you're able to use those clear examples to help progress you forward. And then when you want to go to that next stage in your career, it's all about, okay, what am I adding to my proof of stack to show them that I am at this next level? I'm no longer just the manager, I want to be the head of that role. And you need that undeniable stack of proof to be able to give you that initial way of being able to show to then that hiring employee that you can accomplish what you say you can do. So growing that zone of responsibility gives you that bigger sense of achievement. And then when we want to think about the next stage of the capital and being able to grow out, this is quite a fun thing that actually I was talking about, where he believes that, and especially you're seeing in this bit more decentralized world, the growth of these like personal holding companies. So for example, with myself, so how does Superteam work? Well, each different lead sets up a local company. That local company gets the funding from Solana Foundation, and then we're responsible for being able to disperse that and spend that across the region. Now, Stephen then is the director of that limited company, and Stephen gets paid a wage and gets paid in dividends, and that's like the tax efficient way in order to be able to operate within this jurisdiction in the UK. But then there is a limit until which that I can be able to pay myself if I wanted to be the most tax efficient, because of the dividend tax where it's up to 50K, it's 8.75%, and beyond that, it's 33%. So what's ever then left on the balance sheet of Blockwise Consulting, which is my UK limited company, then you're looking at how can I invest upon that? And so what you're basically seeing is when you're able to grow in your career, it's not just about you being an employee for a company, but it's you being a director of your own personal holding company, having a level of income that's then going back to you as a director, and then investing off the balance sheet of that limited company. And so it's a very unique kind of situation that I think we're going towards, because it's also a lot more decentralized. You know, how do DAOs operate? How are you working with a global organization? And how does that all start to move forward? And I think you're going to see the rise of these type of organizations. So what does that then look like for you as an individual? And what are some of like the examples of what that could be? So, just quickly before that, a fun thing that can create from these as well is if you're now your own limited company, an investor can back that. And you as a talent can be able to create this new kind of like space where you're able to receive a cash injection for being able for your skill set. If you then write a contract with that investor to say like, cool, I will then run all different contracts that I have through this holding company. You as the investor get a % of then the earnings coming through. And now why would I do that as an individual? Well, I can now get access to your entire network. So you know, whenever you're building your startup and you're creating your first raise, the reason why you take on angels is because they can give you value adds. They can introduce you to new people you haven't had access to. If they have attention, they can be able to expand out what you can do. So when you're looking at this like personal holding company structure, a fun thing that can start to happen, which I think could be a trend if you look moving forward and interesting for students potentially as they start going into the workforce and what they can be able to do, is that they could do like a small little personal raise. And you're investing into me as an individual and what I can be able to accomplish from my skill set. So an example here is Yash. So Yash came from Superteam India, and he was an awesome researcher. He was really good at being able to deep dive, find out all the nitty gritty, build it into a big article, and then that was being getting published from the main Superteam account, and it was awesome. And he would get paid for being able to do that work by then other companies who were looking at it. If somebody invested into the Yash very early on, they would have seen this huge capital appreciation. And for the investor, they get this like underpriced investment where Yash would have been like, cool, I now get this like 100K upfront. That helps fund my new equipment that I can be able to buy. That gives me access so I can get the premium version of GBT so I can optimize my work that I'm doing and all the different resources that I need. And I don't have to worry about as a freelancer trying to find those little gigs. I can just now, I'm safe, I'm set. I can just focus on my craft and getting really, really good in that field. And then they would have appreciated in that investment because you can see Yash has now been able to grow to over 20,000 followers. He's now like a really good thought leader in the ecosystem. He just did this really cool Solana AI hackathon initiative, launched another project around it. And if you were an early investor into Yash, you would have now seen this awesome appreciation. And so it's quite unique kind of like space that you can see. And that's because that you can have these like personal holding companies being able to back it. Now, if we then dive into a little bit more of, okay, what do these personal holding companies look like? And what can you do with them? Because there's two sides. You have one, which is the cash flow, and then you have the other, which is the investment. So being able to build up a bank of funds and then being able to invest on that off your balance sheet, and first being able to build up that cash flow. So I'm just going to run you through. I think it'll be easier if I stand over here to be able to do this. A few of these different examples. Maybe this side. There you go. That's a bit better. So first one is consultancy. So technically, that's what I do for Solana Foundation at the moment with the super team, is I'm consulting my services in order to be able to work with any different startups, grow the community in the ecosystem. It's almost like consultancy retainer that I have. And then that's one key trait of cash flow you can be able to get. Other ways is recruitment. You know, if you're able to successfully find a talented individual and being able to pair them up with a startup, it is quite common to be able to then, as long as they stay there for a few months, to have 1 or 2 months of their salary as a recruitment fee. And that can get quite lucrative if you're being very connected into the ecosystem. Now remember, if you had an angel invest into you who knows a lot of people as well, then you can be able to tap into that deal flow and that network in order to be able to allow you to fulfill these roles as they come through. You also have referral commissions. See, if you look at Yash, Yash has now 20,000 followers. If he starts posting about things, there's going to be deal flow straight forward of different products being sold, which he can then be able to get a commission off of. You have that content, as I just said there, but then Yash was also a researcher. People would pay him to write content and to be able to build out big flows. Even though I know myself, we have a UK grant pool, up to 10K micro grants. I can do 1 to 2K in grant funding for you to create content about different ecosystem teams. That's like real cash flow straight in your pocket there's no like marginal cost there other than your time. You can think about these working groups. So there's lots of different DAOs who will fund a treasury. That treasury needs them people to activate and to do work around it. You can then pull together with other people and tap into that capital allocation. There's airdrops and like whether you own a specific asset and that's able to allow you to receive the airdrop. So Superteam members, there's a member NFT that they receive. And because Superteam's reputation and brand is growing, companies, when they launch, want to airdrop out to that audience. That is now because you own that NFT asset, you can now receive that airdrop, which again, straight cash flow. Or if you want to be able to get into farming and go in that whole journey, you can be able to utilize that in order to be able to receive this cash flow. If you do events, so whether that's a sponsorship, being able to get behind the event, or you're ticketing the event, that's another way of generating pure cash flow from your time that you're able to put towards it. And then a fun one is like product ops. So this was interesting that Neil, who's the ops lead for Superteam, this is kind of what he did, where he built like a whole Airtable system for the Superteam Solana Foundation grant system that we worked under. Technically, he owns that IP because it was built with his personal holding company. So if he wanted to, he could then white label that service for another company who wanted to issue grants out to people. And so you can build these IPs and services and utilize that. And the last one is like the franchising, so being able to scale out a brand, and that's where you see Yash as another example. He built Send AI, and is now franchising that across and bringing on other people to be able to push that forward. So these are different examples of ways that you as a personal holding company can be able to build out cash flows in this Web3 ecosystem. And I would highly suggest you first start here. Just like when you want to get a job, you want to be focusing on doing that work and earning. But in this case, you're just having more autonomy and agency over what you're building. Now, once you've been able to build up to that point and you have like a bank that you're ready to now start investing off the balance sheet, what are some examples of what you could do here? First is just liquid markets. You could, as long as you're setting up the right entities and you're holding things in the right way, always consult a legal person, NFA, all of this. You want to be able to make sure that then you can hold different tokens in the liquid markets, and then those could appreciate over time. You have angel checks. This is quite common now, especially with new platforms like Echo and Legion, which make it very easy for you to participate in like fractions of a big startup angel round. You have advisory allocations. This is kind of the mix in between consultancy and angeling, where you get a percent of the company's token that they're launching, potentially even like they're giving you some cash flow for that advisory. But then now, because you have a piece of the pie, that is an investment that will be on your balance sheet. You have treasury sales. So this is, again, similar to the advisory, but a bit closer towards like a working group organization, where you're going to say to that DAO, hey, I'm going to buy some of your tokens at a discounted price that are in your treasury for my contributions. Whether that I was doing events for you, I was creating content for you, I was coding for you, you're being able to now get access to discounted tokens for your contributions. Your personal brand, and that's an investment, that's a time investment in order to be able to grow, in order to be able to figure out your brand and to be able to grow. And then the last one being validators. So being able to either invest into your own validator to set up, which will take a long way, but can be really cool, or if you're investing into different validators and staking some of that cash that's on your balance sheet. So all this to kind of say is, when you're looking to grow into this like new emerging tech ecosystem, first focus on what's your visibility, how you grow in your personal brand, and that voice to become a thought leader in whatever niche you want to be able to be a part of. Think about how you're able to grow your zone of responsibility, that proof of work, and be highly thinking about what is this stack of proof that shows me, and like write your little bio of like your accomplishments and what you're able to do. And then as you're now being able to get more sophisticated, you're building your company, think about as like, what is my personal holding company? Where is my cash flow coming from? How am I investing off that balance sheet? And then that's now how you're able to progress your career. It's not straight vertical, getting promotions all the way up. there's this unique way that you're able to think about growing into our industry, which is a little bit more decentralized. And the last thing I'd say on this to wrap it up is notice those 1000x opportunities. When not necessarily in like a token, but like in a market movement. Where for me, I got into this industry in 2021 and I went full time because I noticed that if I went into this space in that early moment, over the next couple of years, I could become like a real domain expert, and then I could see those outsized returns. And so that's what got me into it. So when you're looking at what is my niche, where should I put my time and attention into, be thinking about where is this 1000x coming from in terms of market growth, and like how am I jumping on board with this wave to be a part of that future. So what now? We want to be able to help. So if you do want to be able to be building that career, Superteam, we're not for profit, we're here to be able to help support you. We have bases all across the UK. We run an awesome co-working Friday, Clockworks. Colin's able to help run us it. Marcus has helped us bring it together. So you're always more welcome to be able to join us there. If you're wanting to build a startup, there's this awesome startup competition run by Coliseum coming up. That's going to be April 14th to May 16th. So you can scan the QR code to be able to sign up towards that platform. If you're looking to be able to get a full-time job, we have a Superteam talent company here to be able to help get you placed. There's also freelance work available on Superteam Earn if you wanted to be able to tap into a bit more short-time gigs. And then we have these events across it. So that's also where you can be able to find these co-working Fridays and to be able to tap into that. It's in 7 different cities across the UK and Ireland now, and I'm always looking to be able to launch out more. So they're an awesome way to be able to catch everyone and to be able to connect on a weekly basis. So thank you all for being able to have me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening, and let's build your career in Web3.